Today in VR, we talk about the new breakthrough hand tracking game, Ascent VR. Now, this is not just any ordinary hand tracking game. This is the new staple of what hand tracking games should be. It pushes all the limits, and it's really good. It's really good, and it sounds amazing, and it looks beautiful as well. So we talk about Ascent VR. Elsewhere, I played Tennis League VR and really like it. So I talk about all the ins and outs of the game, the pros and the cons. So a little bit of a mini review of Tennis League VR. Elsewhere, version 53 has been announced for Quest. In fact, you may already have it on your system, but it'll be rolling out over the next 2 weeks and such. So we'll talk about all the features. Now, a quick disclaimer, the Metagaming Showcase has been announced for June 1st. This was announced after we'd already recorded the podcast, which always seems to be the actual case of these things. But we will be talking about that more next week, okay? We'll be adding it onto the podcast for next week. Also for next week, we are also going to have the Rogue Ascent team, the developer and the publisher on the show. So we have a nice 45-minute interview for next week's podcast. For now, though, let's talk Oculus. Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 85. I'm Dan, your host as always from Playtest VR, and I'm joined by the pride of Massachusetts. It's Samson. How's it going? Why are you wearing a hoodie? It's summertime.
Oh, it is chilly in my basement, and my LTO is basically falling off through the dryer now. It is now just remnants of LTO. But I got some controllers. I tried to update my little behind me scenery.
I see you have a PS5 controller in the back and a N64 controller.
Yeah, and I threw up my Steam Deck up there.
So the background's
And I got my Elite controller for Xbox.
That one's hard to
there.
make out because it's just like solid black. Plus it's behind your head, black, so it doesn't really matter. But I see, maybe all these books behind you is just going to turn into a big gaming collection at one point.
Yeah, I'm slowly taking over my brother's office from his legitimate, these are my books that I'm reading. Nah, these are the video games.
We need the scenery for the podcast. I mean, I have the poster behind me, so it feels like I need to add more stuff because that wall is quite blank. Also, with your merch being, you can see the LTO is disappearing there, does that mean it might be time to start thinking about a summer line of merch, potentially?
Oh boy, some bathing suits?
Maybe some vest tops, some tank tops. Maybe a bucket hat. I'd love a bucket hat which says LTO.
Ooh, I would like a bucket hat. I do.
You know what? The folks listening or watching, let us know in the comments or in the Discord, what would you like for some summer merch? Because hopefully we get some sun. I mean, it is sunny here in Vancouver today, but it's going to rain like crazy next week. So it's just a little bit of, hey, this is what's to come. But yeah, some summer merch might be cool.
Yeah, hell yeah. And while you're down in the comments suggesting merch, you may as well like and subscribe.
Why not? And if you're joining the Discord, you can jump into multiplayer games each week, because this week we played some Among Us VR.
We did.
We had a full house as well, didn't we? We had 9 or 10 people at most times.
Yeah, and we had that one random dude join in. And earlier in the week, I played Breachers with a few
Discard people.
Folks.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to start off with Among Us, actually. I noticed, and I don't know if it's just me, and it might be just common amongst the Among Us crowd, at least on the VR one, but I find it much more fun playing as the imposter than playing as a crewmate. Is that common? Is that something that everyone kind of has?
Yeah, it was. If you play public matches, a lot of times you'll start a game and immediately 2 people will quit because they're not the imposter.
Oh.
No, they're just they're like, oh, I'm not imposter, I'm out of this game. And that would happen also in flat screen, if you're not playing with the peak crew, Generally, I prefer crewmate because it's far less stressful. I noticed myself in the meeting while I was the imposter, my hands were shaking. And I was like, shit, everybody can see my hands. I got to stop moving.
Wow.
but yeah, my heart rate goes. I get overwhelmed, and I'm just like, oh god, what do I do?
Probably easier in VR than it is like on Zoom or something whilst you're playing, or on Discord rather, seeing your faces. Right, you might be harder to.
Yeah, mostly when I would play, it would just be audio. Like we wouldn't be.
Okay. So no poker faces.
VR
needed.
offers. Yeah, now VR offers more
Your
like
hands.
giveaways, tells, if you will. Yeah, your hands.
I do kind of like the way we play in terms of like a fog of war kind of thing, where the crewmates can't see pretty much anything. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not even like looking where I'm going. I'm just got the map up and I'm just following the map. That's all I'm following. I'm not even looking straight. So if I get killed, I have no idea. I've just been looking at the map for the whole time. But it does add more challenge in terms of, and it's fun for the imposter because sometimes I think you did this when you didn't realize how far that the crewmates could see, so it could give you away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so one time Will and I were the imposters, and this was my second time, so I'd realized now, I'm like, all right, they can't see very far. And me and Will went off to a corner, we were like, yo, let's do a double kill. And then we found two people hanging out together, and we just followed them, like, right behind them. And they had no idea we were we were there, and we waited for them to get to a task. Will kills one. Joyce finishes her task. She turns around. I hear her say, "Oh no!" and then boom, murdered.
The double kills are so satisfying. But
yeah, and it's a bit easier. Like in flat screen, you can't talk to one another, right? So you can kind of plan together off in the distance in the VR one, and then come together.
Yeah, absolutely. No, always have fun in Among Us, and thanks to the VR Verdict podcast for joining us too. We had Wookie and PJ both in that game. I think PJ, Wookie as well, has been playing Breaches with you quite a lot as well.
Yeah, usually Wookie and PJ are tag team together with me when we're playing VR.
Nice.
I will say we encountered that weird bug where I could hear everybody could hear me, except for PJ. PJ could not hear me.
But
he
you
could only
hear
not
PJ,
hear me,
which is the weird thing.
Yeah, I could totally hear PJ. Yeah. It was the craziest, weirdest bug, and yeah, it was very fun. That one time where Brandon pushed a button before anybody died, and then everybody was like, "Nah, get out of here, you're done."
I think Brandon pushed the button. I think he pushed the button in the last game, and then he pushed the button almost immediately in the next game. I think the reason why was just because he didn't get to finish his task, so he went and pushed the button or something. It was very bizarre.
Yeah, he was doing a task on one side, and somebody had called the oxygen or whatever to go off, so he was running back across. The sabotage got solved, and then he was already basically at the button, so he just pushed it. This vague strategy, I guess, maybe if you think someone died or whatever, but everybody was just like, no, it's too early.
Yeah, Wookie lost his marbles on that one. That was quite funny. But yeah, good fun to be had in the Discord. Definitely join the Discord if you haven't already, because we have quite regular multiplayer hangouts. We played Walkabout as well the week before, and you've been playing Breaches quite a lot. And I think many people have been posting Breaches codes. I see D-Max, I see Brennan randomly just putting here's a code, I'm in there right now. So definitely come to the Discord if you want to hang out in any multiplayer games with friendly faces rather than random public people. Samson, what else have you been playing in VR this week? How's it been in VR?
Good. I've been playing a bunch. So obviously Breachers and Among Us we've already talked about. I will mention Kai finally made a basket in Breachers. There's a little basketball you can play with in the lobby. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, he made one.
Was he just trying for just that long?
Oh yeah. He's somebody who loves to just do the most repetitive thing that's difficult over and over again until he succeeds.
Did see the video that you posted on the Discord about it. He's just missing constantly.
Yeah, that was the final minute of it, but it went on for a while. And we did play a public match where we got spanked. Really, it was just one dude on the other team was really good. He had a 21-3 KD ratio, but everybody else was more normal. But yeah, it was fun, and we did learn some strategy, I guess, from them. But we got spanked.
Nice.
Then I hopped into a little of Fantavision, which is this new rhythm game. It's sort of fireworky. and you link the same color fireworks together for an explosion, try to get them to go into one another, and then combo. Basically, I don't know. I played about 20-25 minutes of it or so. Pretty fun. It's not really a game you're gonna like sit down and play for a few hours. You know, sit down, play level.
Sure.
But yeah, visually pretty good.
Is it rhythm game? You said.
I think the music is pretty good. It's more of like it's like fireworksy. Like there's definitely rhythm going, but I don't know that it's like the basis. You're not going to the rhythm. You're going more to the.
You're choosing. It's like a Tetris effect kind of feeling in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, that was pretty. Visually, it was pretty good. Nice. I think I got it on sale, so I don't know that I'd recommend it full price. But you know, if you're into like the Tetris effect, that type of game, it'll probably scratch that itch.
On sale at the moment for PlayStation VR owners, by the way, Tetris Effect. But I don't know if the sales ended. By the time.
Yeah, I should say Fantavision is a PSVR and PC title. I don't think it's on Quest standalone.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Then took part in my Walkabout Wednesday tournament that I've sort of joined. I played very well. I was in the top 3 there until 18, where I was like, I'm going to go for it. And I shot off the back. And in practice, I was like, Wait.
What course is this? What course is this?
Tourist Trap. So 18's the one where you can kind of go off the back or take your 4. And I was like, in practice mode, I was like, all right, if I nail the backward shot in the first 3, I get 3 shots. I'm golden. And of course, in the game, it took me like 6, and I like double bogeyed or whatever. But it was pretty good.
Where are you playing these tournaments? Is this on the actual Walkabout Discord or?
No, it's like a Quest 2 After Dark Discord. It's like just a Quest community. Lots of people playing. Nice. I'm pretty certain Walkabout is being played in that server like 24 hours a day.
Nice, awesome.
And then pretty much last but not least is Grab. I hopped back into Grab. It had its Steam release, and that reminded me of it. And I got 3 friends in it, and we did one of my old maps. Took me. I forgot how quickly I got good at that game, and then
just forgot it.
Obviously, I haven't played in a while, so it's just like platforming. You got to get like your jumps down. Like, how do I do this? It was hard. It was hard, and especially for 2 of my friends that never played the game before. One just grabbed onto my back and just like I like yoded them through the thing. But yeah, played about 2 hours, and I burnt my watch at like 500 to 600 calories. And yeah, just so much fun. I got to get back in and make a couple more maps.
Nice.
What have you been playing?
Well, first of all, just to throw this out real quick, Rogue Ascent VR, played a little bit of it. I know you've played a bit of it. For those of you who don't know what Rogue Ascent VR is, it's a game that's out now as you're listening to it, on the 4th of May. I want to say. 4th of May. Rogue Ascent VR is a roguelike shooter controlled with MetaQuest hand tracking technology. So it's very retro style. If you watch the video podcast and you see our intro to Let's Talk Oculus, that kind of synthwave intro, it's that kind of theme. It's the same kind of theme.
It's kind of like it's not like cell shaded, but it definitely is. It's a simpler graphical style.
A lot of neon colors being used. And it's hand tracking, like I said, and you're using finger guns to shoot. There's some clever mechanics for it, and we'll talk about it more in the interview. But at this stage, like you hold your hands up as a fist to do a shield. You obviously shoot your gun, and the gun shooting works well. And then you lift your hand up, and then it reloads. It does like the Western reloader of just like rolling through. And then you have different tools on your left where you can like see a recon, so you can spot different enemies and such. It actually takes a little bit getting used to because it is hand tracking, right? I feel like the hand tracking has been working well. I've not played too much yet, but sometimes it works too well, where, you know, if my hand is open, it knows I want a gun, but maybe I don't want that. Maybe I'm trying to select a weapon or something like that. So I need to change my hand position a little bit to get to that area. But overall, I'm having a lot of fun with it. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I played about 30 to 45 minutes, so very early impressions. I was impressed with the hand tracking. Generally, it was doing what I meant for it to do. There were a couple times where a gun would fall on us. So you move from like port station to station. That's how you move around. It's not like free movement. And so you open your hand or whatever to get to that one, but there's a gun on there, and opening your hand is also how you pick up the gun. So I kept like accidentally picking up the gun and moving at the same time. And I had a hard time when I just had one gun. I'm now dual wielding, but when I had one gun, I accidentally switched the gun hand. So then I couldn't shoot with my right hand, and I couldn't figure out how to get it back.
Yeah.
Not having a start menu is the only thing I get frustrated with. Not the only thing. It's one of the few things I get frustrated with. But yeah, like it was very responsive. I'm in a well-lit room, solid tracking. The enemies so far seem decent, if not a little dumb, but I am early in the game, so like they should be easy to kill. There was one bit I got to where it was a big wave. I had to like do something Wi-Fi or something, press a button, and then it was just waves of enemies coming. It was pretty fun. I was like, when is this gonna end? Like, I'm killing a lot of people here. Come on, hurry up. But yeah, and the auto reload, a few times I would forget to reload, but there's a good bar there. So then I would alternate. I kept getting screwed because I'd reload at the same time and then couldn't shoot. But yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good showing of hand tracking. And then my last thing, so you work Rogue Ascent, you're working your way up elevators, and that's basically how the game works. And then I assume when you die, it's a roguelike, like you're modding your guns and all that. You go back and you try it again. So you're in an elevator pretty often, and it plays elevator music, and that cracked me.
I actually never noticed that when I was in the elevator. I need to, maybe because the thing is, this game, it kind of, the tutorial's like 2 minutes long. It kind of shows you the basics and then just throws you in, and there's no like storyline or anything like that, or anything to give you some context. You're just in, right? And
there is some story in the elevator, like there's a couple back and forth text things, but it's not in depth.
It's not in depth. It just throws you in, and it doesn't really. It kind of eases you into it, because like I'm sure as you play more and more, like you said with the waves, the waves get bigger and such, but. Right now, after only playing for like 5, 10, 15 minutes or so, probably 10, 15 minutes or so, it was the enemies did feel a bit dumb, but then like you said, it's probably just because it's the early stages and I need to get higher and higher up. It reminds me of the movie Raid, when you're just trying to climb up this whole story, trying to kill all these folks and such. But if anyone's watched that movie before, but yeah, right now there's just a lot going on. It's stimulating as hell. There's neon stuff. There's guns. You know, I think it's more. I don't think the hand tracking's working. Like the hand tracking's working really well, and I don't think when these little bits happen where they've moved to the other hand or you've accidentally reloaded when you meant to do something else, I don't think that's anything to do with the hand tracking. I think that's just more of us just trying to learn. I think this is you just get better at it. It's a roguelike, right? So you're just gonna have.
It's like pressing the wrong buttons.
Yeah, you just gotta give it time and just get better and better and better at the game, and then you'll get the knack of it. But I'm having good fun, and I can't wait to talk to the guys at the end of the show about this game for sure.
So the shooting, one thing I was nervous about was like, will I have to like pull my finger to shoot? And it just automatically shoots when your fingers are open and you have bullets.
Does it?
It'll just
I was doing this every single time.
No, it just auto shoots, and you can change it to be 2 fingers finger gun or one in the settings. I did see that.
That's better, because I was doing this over and over again, and it was like my fingers getting fatigued doing this over and over again without actually pressing something.
Yeah, no.
But you can just go pew 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 pew. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was just holding my hand like this, and it was just shooting until I reloaded.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that works well. Okay, I can't wait to play more about it. More about it. More of it later on.
Just roll with it. Just roll with it.
Yeah, anyway, the other game I've been playing a lot is Tennis League VR. Now, Tennis League VR came out last week, I believe, for the Oculus Quest 2. It goes straight to Oculus Quest Store, I believe. It used to be on App Lab, but there was a demo. I think the demo is still on App Lab if you want to try it. But I played a bunch of this. I played like a good hour or so of this in the morning. A few thoughts on it. It feels very much like a 4VR game, or Forever game, rather.
Yeah, don't they use the same lobby? I saw that in a video.
I don't know. I don't know if they use the same lobby.
What? Like that lobby looks identical.
Sorry, the actual game hub. Yeah, that looks identical. When you go in on the right, you've got leaderboards, you've got custom rackets. Not fun custom rackets like the bowling balls. How much fun they are, but you will be mistaken because you'll look at it and you go, okay, this is forever tennis. This is what it feels like. Forever tennis for sure. There's a few slight differences, definitely in the characters compared to the Forever games, but it does feel very similar. And that's not exactly a bad thing because the Forever games have been solid sports titles. And this one, playing it for like an hour now, it's a solid sports title. So let me give you the preference here. You've got a career mode where you have 4 different types of tournaments. So you have like a novice and they're in 4 different settings. So you start in like a street and then you work your way up to like a stadium, for example. You got Wimbledon-esque, yeah. So you've got like a clay court stadium, which is like the French Open, and then you've got a grass court stadium, which is like Wimbledon. The multiplayer, no one's playing. There's no lobbies in there. So it says create a lobby, but you know, if there's no one there, there's no one there. You have a training mode, which teaches you real tennis. So I don't know how good this is yet. I don't know how to play tennis. I'm playing again today just to like practice. But right now, all I know is how to hit the ball over the net, and sometimes it's wayward, right? But it teaches you the fundamentals. So there's 25 lessons: 5 for forehand, 5 for backhand, 5 for serve, 5 for volley, and 5 for something else that I don't remember. 25 lessons, and it goes through the fundamentals. So forehand, it tells you how to hit a proper forehand. So instead of hitting it straight like I would not do, you're meant to arc your swing, which I didn't.
Does it keep tracking it? Like, I feel like you're going behind yourself. But the serve, too?
It doesn't really. So what it does, it gives you this, for the training, that it gives you this silhouette of where the tennis racket should be to hit the shot. And you have to do that same motion 10 times. And then after you do that, then you have to have 10 shots to get it onto the other side of the court. So when you do a normal shot, any normal shot, even if you flick your wrist, is going to be fine. But the next one is topspin, and it teaches you how to do topspin, which is a little bit different of how you hit it. But then when it comes to the balls coming at you and you got to hit it with topspin over, it's hard because you got to hit it that way. So if you don't know how to play tennis, it's freaking hard to do those. But they're only in the lessons.
How's the movement work? How do you get to the ball?
The movement's quite clever, okay? First of all, you have an option to do thumbstick movement, which is awful. But there is an option for that if you want to use it.
Why is that awful?
Because you're using the thumbstick, it's just hard to move the thumbstick and like actively play kind of thing. I guess that's like a Wii nunchuck kind of style, but it doesn't feel natural to me. But the best way is actually the way that's on by default, and that's teleport. So you use the face buttons. So you have, if you're right-handed, you have A and B, okay? And A puts you in the position on the back of the court, and then B puts you in the front of the court. So if you want to go to the front of the court, you press B, so you can try and like hit a volley or something as the person hits it. But when the opponent hits the ball, you press A, and it kind of puts you in the position of where you need to be, and then it's
like immediately. So like, what if you like? Because a part of tennis is being like too slow to get to the ball, right?
So it always immediately puts you in the position.
even if you're on one side and it's going to the other side, like, so you never. How do you get it back? How do you mess up?
You mess up because of the shots that you mess up. So maybe when you press the A button to get to the left side, the ball's coming in fast, and you need to move your body and kind of hit a backhand, and sometimes you miss the backhand. So yeah, it removes the movement side of it. Like when I was playing, I did a fairly big Guardian, but then I realized that I'm mostly standing in one spot and just moving, pivoting left and pivoting right. But I'm mostly in one spot, so it works okay.
Sorry, when you teleport, how do you know if you're going to have a forehand or a backhand?
You don't. You just
like, how do you know
when you press the A button, you can see the ball coming to you. You go, okay, it's better to hit a forehand, or it's better to hit a, So it just depends. It starts off with arcade mode on, okay, which helps you assist you with your shots. And then you can change it to simulation mode, which is more of a training wheels off kind of thing. And what I realized with simulation mode, my shots were still pretty much the same of what it was in arcade mode. Like it was still going where I wanted it to go, or messing up how I would have thought it would mess up. But the main thing was the serve. So I did a full tournament with arcade mode on, and my serve was up in the air, hit decent, not the best serves, not the best power, but the ball would always go up perfectly straight in the air and I'd hit it. I put simulation on. Every time I threw the ball, it kept going forward. I couldn't stop laughing because I was just throwing it.
So you never threw it straight up.
Never threw it. Then I took a while, and then I realized, I need to bring it back a little bit, and then I can hit it. So yeah, me on arcade mode was just throwing it forward. But either way, if you're going to have arcade mode or simulation mode, I think I'm going to leave it on simulation going forward so I can throw my serves a bit better. And practice. But so yeah, like you can play this. You can do the top spin, you can do the volleys, you can do all these different shot types if you know how to play tennis. But if you don't know how to play tennis and you just want to just hit the ball back and forth, that's fine too. And it's really fun. It's a tennis game, right? Tennis games can be really fun. It's Pong in the end of the day. Tennis games can be really fun. Sometimes on the flat screen consoles, tennis games can be boring because it's just always like hit back, forth, you're just pushing the buttons. This with motion adds so much more depth to it. And I just wanted to keep playing. It's really fun.
We need a Mario tennis game.
Honestly. Okay, so a couple of things that I didn't like. The character customizability is awful. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much because you are the character, right? But first of all, the skin color, like there was like 6 shades of white and 1 brown. And I couldn't...
Sounds like tennis to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact right there. It's just like there was not much custom. I made a character, which I tried to make it look like me, but it looked nothing. It just looked like a hockey bro more than anything and such. Like it doesn't matter too much. Like I'd prefer. I would like if they had more types of skin color in there. That would be welcome. But in terms of everything else, it doesn't really matter too much to me because you are playing as the character. But that was one thing I wasn't a big fan of. And they also have this a wave shooter kind of game mode as well. It's like a little arcade game mode
where you're just playing like it's just shooting balls.
So you're
at
standing, a ball's next to you, which keeps respawning, and you've got 5 different teleports in front of you, and there's these robots that come at you, kind of like a Space Invaders kind of style, where they come at you, and you need to kind of kill them before they get too close. So it's just waves of that. That's okay. That's obviously mixes it up. I don't think it needs to be there, to be honest. What I would like this game to go is if there was more career options and maybe some more like career progression, kind of thing. And also
the things
level.
To unlock.
Yeah, and also difficulty level as well. Like you can do an exhibition game, but you just play against whoever character you want to choose against, and that's the difficulty. But it'd be nice if you just set the difficulty on like pro mode. So I'm on the, say if I play someone who's a bit crap, if I had like a decent shot, they're not going to hit it back every single time. So it gets a little bit, it can get a little bit too easy once you get used to it for some of them. But I've only finished the first tournament and played about 2 or 3 exhibition games, so I'll have to come back on that. So yeah, that's Tennis League VR. It's really fun. I had a great time with it. I'm not gonna lie. If you want to play like a sports tennis game, then looks no further. I haven't played the other tennis game. I know there's another one on Quest. I haven't played that one yet. Came out ages. It's called Real Tennis or something like that. I can't remember.
Okay.
I've not played that one, but yeah, this tennis game is really fun. Really good for now. I'm not sure how much it is, but they did send me a code to give away on the podcast. So if you're interested and you want to pick up a code, I don't know if many people will be, but if you are into tennis, I don't know, type in ACE on the comments or type in ACE on the Discord, and I'll do a roulette wheel thing like I did with Samurai Slaughterhouse last time, and I'll announce the winner before next week's show.
You served that one up nicely.
Beauty.
Now they just got to slam it down. I think those are tennis terms.
Yeah. Anything else you've been playing?
No, I think I said it all.
Okay, beauty. All right, so that'll do it for part 1 of what we've been playing. In part 2, we'll talk about the VR news, including a new update. So we'll see you then.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2, the VR news. We'll talk about the first one. That is v53 update is here, or is going to be here over the next 2 weeks or so. You know how they do these things. V53... Rolling. Yeah, the Limp Biscuit with this. V53, what this brings, the advanced camera settings that were in experimental mode, which allow you to capture footage in 6:9 widescreen. There's other features in there as well, but that's the only one that I use. But those are now available outside of experimental mode. Videos can also capture stereo audio now, if you wanted to. Also studio audio, I believe, but stereo audio. You can also update the apps before the Quest goes off, which is a big thing. We talked about this on the show a while ago, where it's annoying when you boot up your Quest and there's like 25 million updates. They've now done better where you can update through the app or if it's charging, but now they've taken it a step further where if you're about to shut off, like Windows PCs, when you're always trying to shut off and there's always a bloody update, it's the same with this one. Is that the same thing with Windows? That's the last time I remember using Windows.
Yeah, usually... this guy has no PC life. Macs can do it too, dude. Macs have the shutdown and update option.
I never have my Mac just updates. I don't know.
But yeah, it's like I imagine it'll be like when you go to shut down, it'll be like, do you want to update before it shuts down type of option, then you hit OK.
Yeah, same kind of thing.
Yeah, I haven't had many issues with updates lately. It's been pretty good, but I have seen people complain about it in other Discords, so it must still go on.
I've had no issues either. I think my Quest has been pretty good to keeping up to date now. It's been nice. Like with the... I say that Among Us, when we tried to play the other day, it wouldn't work for me. And I had to go back out of it, and then it said update. But when I first booted up, it didn't say update. But the good thing about the Among Us update, it took like 5 seconds to do. It was so small. I think they just brought new hats.
Yeah, I think... it was like new hats and some probably like server end stuff.
Yeah, it was
moderating.
Yeah, I think we spoke about last week about the parental stuff, right? Also on
the new map will probably be a bigger update, I imagine.
Oh, for sure, and I hope they bring the new app sooner rather than later. I think we're in need for it now, and we can't play Fog of War with the new map on. Because I'm not.
Well, I was gonna say I know that map like the back of my hand. So like playing Fog of War doesn't. I'm fine. I mean, the new map will probably be. I think I read that it'll be different than what Polus was.
They said slightly different, but inspired by the Polus one. Yeah,
the Skeld map is pretty much identical to how it is in the flat screen, outside of a few tasks.
Also on the V53, Quest Pro now supports Wi-Fi 6E, which is great for those pro users. And supervision tools have been added for parents and teens, which is now including browser content. So no more VR porn for the kiddos.
Nice. The kiddos will find a way around
The kiddos always find a way.
If I know anything about a kiddo trying to watch porn, it'll probably figure out a way to get to
there's
it.
There's always a way, honestly.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I go into the next one?
Yeah, you go for the next one.
All right. Mark Zuckerberg, price of Meta's next headset, quote, accessible for lots of people. Had to say nothing with words is that accessible for a lot of people. What
does that even mean?
Anyway, moving right along. The price of Quest 3 will be, quote, accessible for lots of people. $300 to $500 is what he's been quoted as before. This was during an earnings call. Their not 5K, their 10K just recently came out. Mm-hmm. I know this because I'm a shareholder, so I got to vote on some things.
Oh, nice.
If I wanted to.
Nice.
A narrative has developed that we're somehow moving away from focusing on the metaverse vision. So I just want to say up front, that's not accurate. We've been focusing on both AI and the metaverse for years now, and we will continue to focus on both. I'm just trying to get his cadence.
I think every time we have Zuckerberg quotes on here, you should do it.
I'll move on to his. Oh, let's talk about that quote, I guess. So in the 10K, he mentioned Reality Labs. They're gonna spend, I think it was like 50% on AI, 40% on VR, and 10% on social and advertising.
Sure. Okay, and then that might have thought that they're not going to do much metaverse because that will come into social and such. That's fair.
Yeah,
but they have a big team. Although a lot of people have left now, or have been canned, but they have a pretty big team.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, not much to say about that one. Let's go to the next one.
Yes. Allow me to continue. The next milestone is that we're gearing up to launch our next generation consumer virtual and mixed reality device later this year. We launched Quest 2 almost 3 years ago at this point. It was a very big step forward for VR, and I'm really excited to show the world all the improvements and technology we've developed since then at a price point that will be accessible for lots of people. Lots of people will be able to access this price point.
Yeah, who knows what this price point? I mean, they've quoted $300 to $500. I've said this way before, but I'm still hoping that there's a $300 version with no controllers, but the Quest 2 controllers work if you want to, or the Quest Pro definitely will work. And then a $500.
That'd be a good upgrade.
Yeah, and then I would 100% buy the $300 one and get Quest Pro controllers on top. Because those Quest Pro controllers are just really, really nice, and they work better for tennis or definitely work better for Golf Plus, for example. Yeah. And they are just really nice in the hand. And to be honest, with the added weight for the Quest Pro controllers, my shots for walkabout mini golf are always better, just because it's a little bit more steady, because it's a heavier club, quote unquote.
I just need knuckle grips. Does VR cover somebody have knuckle grips for the Pro controllers yet?
I don't know.
That's what I want.
I don't know.
That's what I want.
Anymore. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, because I want to buy the Quest Pro controllers, but at the same time, I might as well wait until what's been shown. Because if they just come with controllers, I don't know, I might just leave it then. But because the controllers are what, $300 on top?
Yeah.
So if they could do a $300 SKU with no controllers, that would be excellent. But we'll see. And it's curious that he's always pushes VR and mixed reality device for this particular Quest 3 headset. So we're hoping, I mean, that means I would say the pass-through is going to be very good. I would say the pass-through might be better than the Quest Pro pass-through, because they may have updated the technologies over a year. But
I don't know. Will they have a depth sensor? I don't know.
I'm not sure. But
the real things I think that'll be cut are the eye tracking.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be eye or face tracking now at this point, but mixed reality part I think is what they're pushing, or I've seen what they're pushing. So every time I'm playing on the PlayStation VR, which has actually been a long time, I haven't picked that up for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm actually just always on the Quest. If I'm playing the VR, I'm always picking the Quest. You know, I don't know if that might change as it becomes to summer and my room gets much hotter, but then I still just bring my Quest into other rooms. Anyway,
but the adaptive triggers and the face haptics.
I know, but
and the graphics.
Also, the FOV is every time I put the Quest on, I'm like tunneled in compared to the PlayStation VR, but it's still just like it better. I don't know. Maybe it's just the games that I have on there are just easier. Maybe because the Quest I have shorter games on there, like a Walkabout, like a tennis, like a Among Us kind of thing, Breaches. Where on the PlayStation I have bigger titles, and it's like if I'm in the mood to play a big game, to get into it. So I don't know if it's because of that, but yeah, I was about to say just the PlayStation VR's pass-through mode. It's just, even though it's not even been meant to made for mixed reality, it's just so much more clear than the Quest 2. It's ridiculous. The Quest 2 looks sickening now when you go into pass-through mode.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just
not great. I now use pass-through as my main home now.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Not for me.
I like to throw on the headset, and I still know exactly where everything is until I get into my game.
Sure. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and that's why I'd probably be the same as soon as it gets better or clearer. Like in the PlayStation VR, I can technically read my phone. It's not clear, but I sent a tweet out when the PlayStation VR came out. I sent a tweet out that I tweeted through the pass-through. And it was absolutely... I mean, I know I got autocorrect on the phone and such, but still, it was like I could do this. Well, on the Quest 2, you got no chance. Got no chance.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll have my TV on like a sports game, and if I get close enough or like move my head in certain ways, I can see the score.
Yeah. That's good. With the PlayStation VR, I can see the score no more, and I can watch the game in black and white.
You can probably watch it.
Yeah, and pretty much. So that's not even meant for mixed reality. So this being for mixed reality, I'm hoping that the pass-through is going to be very good, and then it will encourage more AR or mixed reality games as well to be played that way, which will be really fun. But anyway, that's the Quest 3. We'll talk about the Quest 3 more as we go on by the years. Speaking about more, there's no more rainbows. Samson, there's no more rainbows.
No more.
There's a new game coming out called No More Rainbows. There was a demo on App Lab, which is now expired by the time you're watching this. It expired on May 2nd. But it's a mix of Super Meat Boy meets Super Mario Brothers, is what they said. So this is coming soon to the Quest 2. I'm assuming it comes sooner rather than later now that the demo has been pulled from App Lab. This is their quote. They said, "We've always chatted about how cool it would be to have a Super Meat Boy meets Super Mario Brothers in VR," says Eric, which is the marketing community manager. We looked around and saw nobody making this kind of game apart from Nintendo. So we decided to do it. And if you look at the trailer, it feels like the locomotion looks like Gorilla Tag, where you're like moving your arms.
Yeah, I was going to say, it reminds me of Gorilla Tag or Grab type of game, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. So it's an adventure platformer. You play as the Beast, who finds their moody homeworld turn into a blissful paradise, which he doesn't like, apparently. But yeah, you can run, jump, do all that jazz. There's 4 different worlds split between 28 levels and loads of mini games as well. There's also a 3 versus 3 online multiplayer, which I don't really know what that's about. But yeah.
Well, it seems like you get claws, right? And you're like killing these rainbow things. So imagine in 3v3, you're just clawing one another. I'm not sure where the Super Meat Boy-ness comes in, because that game's all about like repetitiveness and dying a lot.
Yeah.
It does seem more to be about like Super Mario Bros. Platforming and killing these things, jumping around.
Yeah, because Meat Boy is just Meat Boy is like, you have to finish this level perfectly. All right, that's the only way to do it. There's no other second way to do it. You got to do this perfectly, otherwise you die and go back to the start. I love Meat Boy. It's been ages since I played that game. That was a great game.
Yeah, it's in my backlog, but I've watched a good amount of videos on it.
So I think there's 2 of them. I had it on the Vita, the PlayStation Vita, and that's a great handheld game, Super Meat Boy for sure. So definitely get it on the Steam Deck. I highly recommend it. It's so much fun.
So is No More Rainbows your thing?
I don't know. I don't know if I like that type of locomotion. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to mention it because it looked very interesting, and there was a demo. If people have played the demo on App Lab, which I haven't, but if you have played it before this podcast come out, you will get a free cosmetic item in the game when it's released. if you do buy it.
There's no price either. I don't see a price. I'm curious about that. That really would affect whether or not I'm interested in this, I think. Yeah. Right now, not really. Like honestly, getting into grab a little bit, I'm like, and then seeing this, I'm like, oh shit, sorry. I just play more grab. Yeah. That's all I want.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to the last one. This is just a quick one. PlayStation VR news here, and that will release PSVR 2 was online only in the US and on UK as well, and there might be a different market which also is, but now it will be in local retailers. Realtors is housing, isn't it? Retailers. Yeah. After May the 12th. So May the 12th, it will start coming out in your local GameStops, your local game if you're in the UK and such, which is going to be good. I feel like now it will have a proper launch. You know, it's a bit weird that you just only can buy that online. Now you can go into the store. Hopefully
it's not even just online. It's just PlayStation Direct. Yeah,
it's odd. I mean, here in Canada, it's everywhere. Like you can... because they never had that. I don't think they have a PlayStation Direct storefront in Canada, and I think that's why. But, they'll probably do this for their next consoles and such now as well. I think it's just to stop any pre-order craziness. I think there was no issue to pre-order this PSVR 2 because of the price point and such, but the PS5, obviously, there was constant issues, and I think that's why they went this route. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
I don't think that's why, but I don't really know why. There's not a lot of... Like, it's only just gotten easy. Since PSVR 2's come out, it's been easier to get PlayStation 5s. Yeah. And I'm pretty certain last quarter and first quarter, they sold an absurd amount.
Yeah, they hit like a record amount. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're waiting. They got to get PS5s in people's hands in order to get the PSVR 2 in people's hands, right? So you got to do one then the other. And they wanted to compete with the new Zelda. You know?
Yeah.
People are going to be going to get that, and they'll be like, you know what? Actually, I just want this.
I am getting that, actually. I've got it on pre-order. I'm not in the mood to play it yet, though, but I've got it on pre-order.
Yeah, I heard, since we're basically done with this, I heard somebody say, I'm just going to wait for the Switch 2 to play this. And I was like, that's something. Mm-hmm. Because it'd be like playing Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. Not the best, right? Yeah. You wanted to wait and get to play that on the Switch. And they definitely going to be releasing a Switch 2 in the next 18 months.
Are they? They need to.
100% you're going to hear about this this holiday.
They need to. I mean, let's just talk about quick flat screen gaming before we end this part. But the thing is with the Switch, is now 6 years old. 6 years, to this day pretty much. So 6 years in March. So 6 years old, entering its 7th year. And even the original Breath of the Wild sometimes struggles to run. Like sometimes when there's a lot of enemies on screen and you're doing like an attack or something, the frame rates drop a little bit, right? Yeah. It's not that bad. It's like you can play Breath of the Wild no problem, not have too many issues. But there's some games on there, like I'm playing Zelda, what's the game called? Link's Awakening right now on Switch, which is the 2D version. That has so many frame rate drops. Every time you leave a house, like when you come out of a house back into the world, the frame rate drops for like a few seconds, and then you get into it. It's a bit odd. Like it's still fine to play, but it's just odd. So yeah, they definitely need new hardware, especially after Steam Deck's out. I think Asus just announced their own version of like a Steam Deck, which is coming out, which is an absolute powerhouse now as well. So Switch doesn't have to be as powerful as a Steam Deck. They don't need that. But to be as powerful, like you could be like 70% of the Steam Deck, and then it'll be.
Switch can't run COD. It needs to run COD.
That's true. And Call of Duty has been announced for it to come soon. They are going to bring every Call of Duty to it. I think that starts from next year. So you might be onto something, actually, Samson. You might be onto something. I'll be bitter because I only got my OLED. Actually, no, it's been a year now.
I mean, the OLED's only been out like 2 years, but yeah.
Yeah, I did get the OLED on launch, but that's because I didn't have a Switch at the time. But yeah,
makes sense.
I don't know. But anyway, that's Switch talk. Are they going to bring VR back to the Nintendos? Who knows?
Who knows?
All right, let's wrap up part 2 here. That's the news. Part 3, we'll talk about our games out this week. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube, Spotify, and even Apple Podcasts. And if you really like us and you want to throw us $1, join us on patreon.com/letstalkoculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3, games out this week. Before we kind of go through the games, I just noticed on the Quest store there was a sale for May the 4th with the Star Wars sale.
That's why I was like, why is this sale happening?
It just came live.
May the 4th be with me.
It just came live as we're recording. We'll post it in the Discord just in case anyone wants, because we're recording on Saturday. But May the 4th.
Fourth wall broken.
It will probably end on the day of the recording. But I just noticed Star Wars Pinball is 44% off. And I am now very tempted because this is a game that I've always wanted to jump into. And I know you loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I haven't hopped in a long time. I have hopped into flat screen pinball a little bit.
No, it seems like they've stopped support for it. It looks like the last update was 2 years ago with there's now 10 tables in there. But as long as it still plays fine, I am tempted. Still really good reviews all around. So yeah, I might pick that up. But obviously, if you've never played the Vader Immortal games, they are on 50% again, like they always are. Definitely pick them up. I've still never finished those games. I did the first 2 and I never finished the third, but always good fun. Very like early VR feel, but
yeah, they're more like very linear. You're not going to be overwhelmed with having too many things to do.
It's a great
too many
game
controls.
to put your parents in. Like, I put my dad in this, who loves Star Wars, or at least very much likes Star Wars from back in the day, and he had an amazing time playing the first episode, and he completed it in one go, because it's only like 45 minutes or so, and he had a great time, because it's not too complicated, it's pretty easy to pick up, and it's pretty immersive when Vader first comes at you, so probably everyone at the moment, listening to this has probably played it, but if you haven't, just get on it. It's 50% off. It's like the price of, I don't know, 2 coffees from Starbucks nowadays.
Right. Yeah. Shall I get into this?
Yeah. Read our first game.
Propagation Paradise Hotel. Trapped inside the Paradise Hotel, where a strange illness has turned people into savage creatures, you are desperate to find your sister. Play as Emily Diaz, explore dark surroundings, gather resources, and survive terrifying encounters. This intense solo VR survival horror game with great storytelling will get your adrenaline pumping.
Yeah. Odd timing of release now. I mean, if people are into horror games, it's going to be probably a decent one. I think wait for reviews on this one. Gives me a lot of Exorcist Legion feels, not the same. I mean, you're walking around with a gun, so you got like a bit of a Resident Evil kind of take of that, but it's just the art style is giving me more of those Exorcist kind of feels. But yeah, it looks like a decent game. I'm not going to pick it up, but maybe I'll pick it up in the Halloween season.
Nice.
But not for you.
Yeah, bring back that horror. No, not for me. Bring back that horror videos to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, bloody hell, those were tough. All right, next game. By the way, all these games that we talk about are coming out on the day of release of this podcast, 4th of May. Survival Nation. Survival Nation is an open-world online RPG zombie survival game designed for VR. That was a lot. Survival. To survive, you need to remember about food and water. That's a good thing. You also can fish in this game and such. Online, they say cooperation is key. It's no different here. Survival Nation is a game that focuses on multiplayer mode. So I believe for this, you can have people come into your world, kind of thing. And you can do an adventure together if you wanted to. You've got progression. Survival Nation is not lacking in RPG elements either. There's a whole bunch of missions and side activities waiting for you, and there's like a progression tree. I think there's 3 skill trees that you kind of need to bring up. Activities, and I'm reading it like this just because this is how it's written. It's written in like bullet point form rather than just a block of text like all the other ones are. Activities, you can search for items with a metal detector, climb on top of various spots, search for treasure and riddles, and much more. And weapons. Survival Nation offers a mass diverse weaponry starting from pistols, rifles, up to bows. this game doesn't look very good in terms of visuals. It looks very dated in terms of visuals.
Well, it is on the Quest.
It is on the Quest, but things on the Quest are starting to look pretty decent. You know, I always think about Walking Dead on the Quest, and Walking Dead on the Quest is, sure, it's no PSVR Walking Dead, but it's still freaking good.
This is an open world. It is already on Steam,
Yeah,
I see, and it
What's
came
the
out
reviews?
in February on Steam.
What reviews have we got?
Mostly positive, 85 reviews.
85. Okay, that's not many, but it's decent. Okay.
I mean, here we go. 3 hours into the game. All right. I'm about 3 hours into this game as I'm writing this, and I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. The gameplay is pretty standard, MMO-style loop of get quests, go out in the world, kill stuff, collect stuff, or gather stuff, return, turn in quest, upgrade gear, learn new skills, etc. It's kind of like the love child of Saints and Sinners and Zenith. I haven't run into any major glitches so far, although I do have a couple of nits to pick with it. And then it goes on to have 4 nits to pick with it, and I'm not going to read the rest of it.
No more nits. Is this one for you? You into like Green Hell or anything like that? Those kind of games?
No, not particularly. I do love every game with somebody, but
game.
I've got a lot of games to do, and survival games aren't usually my thing. I know that tactical shooters aren't usually my thing, and I love breachers, but
sure.
Survival games are really not my thing.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I like survival horrors, but they play a little bit different because you've got survival horrors are more like an adventure game with some like RPG kind of elements to it, with like Resident Evil, Walking Dead, for example. But pure survival games, there's a lot of grinding when it comes to that, and for me, I'm not really into that either, to be honest. So I think this is a pass for me, but I'm curious to see what reviews there are. All right. Round it off, Samson. Round the podcast off.
Should I do the Rogue Ascent, even though we're about to interview them?
Yeah, do the Rogue Ascent.
Rogue Ascent VR. Save the planet with finger guns. Rogue Ascent VR is a roguelike shooter controlled with MetaQuest hand-tracking technology. Find weapons, gain perks, and craft upgrades as you fight to save your planet from destruction. Blast your way through a hostile space station, all without a controller. Make finger guns to shoot, raise your arms to shield, interact with the world only using your hands. Multiple bosses, unique character interactions, and online leaderboards ensure that this game remains unique run after run.
Yeah, that is Rogue Ascent. We obviously spoke about it earlier. So, actually, let's wrap it up there. Samson.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, because I noticed Eye of the Temple came out last week. We talked about it, and it's got a 4.9 rating on the Quest Store right now with nearly 60 ratings. So
yeah, and you said Breach is also crushing it, right?
Yeah, they really crushing it. They got like 1,200 reviews or something. Yeah. 4.8.
Yeah, that's great to see. That's great to see.